Hey everybody, welcome to the Sam St. John channel. I'm Sam. This is my buddy Alex from Beer and Vinyl. He is on the tail end of a kind of a whirlwind trip down to Virginia. We kind of planned it last minute, but it worked out really well, where he came over last night to my place, spun some tunes, made a video, had some good food. Check out his channel. He put up a video of our first night's endeavors. We talked a little bit about our intro to YouTube and the vinyl community. And today we got to meet up. We both had things to do. This morning we met up this afternoon at a record show. It just happened to be going on this afternoon. It just worked out really nice. Alex had some time to kill beforehand. He got to visit our local record store here in town, and we both met up here at the show. So we're just going to show some of this junk that we got. It might be good, it might not be. We don't know.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
I'll go ahead and start because I got a couple more things than Alex did. I did get I'll just start with a free record. It says $3, but the guy was handing out, he had a stack of freebies. This is Dan Fogelberg, a song cycle, the Innocent Age. This has Same Old Lang Syne on it. It's like a comp. Leader of the Band, Run for the Roses, The Innocent Age. There's Dan Fogelberg classic tunes from the early 1980s. So I'm happy to have that. I would never have paid for it, but it was very clean, the vinyl, and I like just two of those songs alone.
I was making fun of it that you paid too much for it. And
Yeah.
the joke was free, but that is actually a really good record.
Yeah.
I will say.
Yeah.
Admittedly. Yeah.
Well, it's funny. He made the joke, and the guy selling the records was like, "Yeah, you're right." So.
I'm a funny guy.
But with that, he is a funny guy. Yeah, like a mushroom.
Oh, you did.
So I got the Dylan Greatest Hits Volume 2. Is this right? Volume 2. Yep. And he sold me this for 10. So he knocked off $5 on it. The reason, and this was how I got the freebie. And what I like about having this was that it has Watching the River Flow on it, which it didn't appear on any album. Same for The Mighty Quinn and where is it? When I Paint My. A lot of these songs were basement tape cuts that never really made the final floor, and a lot of them were alternate mixes and things. So I'm really happy to have this. Like, it's been on my list for a while, and the records themselves were clean. It's got the classic ring wear on the back around the Bob Dylan fro, but we don't judge. So there's our first couple you want to show. Kind of pick.
Yeah, I'll pick one as you roll off these deals. It's like, yeah, he gave me this for 10. He gave me this for 10.
Yeah.
This is a shout out to Glenn Kellaway from the basement, because I know he's been looking for this record. This is not for you, Glenn. I'm sorry, it's for me, but also like, and I guess you'll probably see in both of our hauls here, but mine, I got 3 records, and they're 3 very different records. But the first one I'll show, this was the only pickup I had from the actual show itself here. This goes to 74, and it's the collab album with Alice Coltrane and Carlos Santana, of course going by like their Indian names that they went with.
Cool.
Illuminations here. This is some pretty out there stuff, like not exactly accessible for some. Very, very spiritual type stuff going on. But in terms of finding like Alice Coltrane records, like they're really difficult to find and really expensive. And this is like a cheap one. So this was only a few bucks. Actually, it was $8, and I had $6 in cash, and I offered the guy $6 in cash because that was all I had, and that's all they accepted. And he goes, best I can do is $7. And I was like, sir. Anyways, I had to PayPal him.
Yeah.
And and you better believe I PayPal him $8. I'm like, I'm not letting him have a leg up. So $8 for Alice and Carlos, Illuminations.
Cool. Yeah, sorry Glenn, you don't get the gifts this week. I picked up, I'll go ahead and get the guilty pleasures out of the way. A guy was selling CDs for $1. Everybody knows on my channel I like a good boy band. I got 2 NSYNC CDs. This is the first American album, just self-titled, and then the Christmas album, again, $1 a piece. I won't go into those because nobody cares. And I'll go ahead and show, this is the first purchase I made. Again, he cut it half price to $10. This is Nitty Gritty Dirt Band, Uncle Charlie and his dog Teddy. It's a promo copy just because the sticker tells me this. And this has Mr. Bojangles on it. It's their version of Some of Shelley's Blues, written by Michael Nesmith. Really, really good. They also do Propinquity, another Nesmith tune. And other good stuff on here. They actually do House at Pooh Corner, which is a Kenny Loggins tune. But again, this is pre Will the Circle Be Unbroken, I believe. And I'm really happy to have this. I have a couple of Nitty Gritty Dirt Band records that aren't Will the Circle, and I always like their stuff. It's it's more country than country rock, but they do have a lot of rock elements. I mean, they were coming up with Nesmith and Jackson Browne. They were the California hippies, doing kind of country bluegrass music. So the Dirt Band and NSYNC.
What label is that on? Is that London?
It is. It doesn't even say.
I was gonna ask if the. Oh.
Liberty. It's a Liberty label.
Nice.
So.
Right, because. Sorry.
Go ahead.
I'm like.
There's a leaf in it. How about that?
Ooh. Alright, never mind.
Anyway.
Yeah. It's great.
We found some foliage in my record, which is what you always want.
Yep. Then go next.
Sure, I've got.
So on a complete other side of things, this was the only, besides some of the comps, and there's a number of comps, but this was the only studio album I was missing from the Byrds, and it's a hard record to find. I mean, you were talking about just kind of waiting for the perfect one to roll around.
A lot of times
you
they're
probably
trashed.
want
Yeah.
You probably want like one of the special edition ones that's got like the extended stuff,
Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah.
But I've never been in the times I have seen issues of this record, it's always the Sundays reissue one.
Yep.
And so I was looking for like at least an earlier pressing of it, but Sweetheart of the Rodeo from the Byrds. This is not an original, but this was like a 1970 reissue on Columbia. So you know what's funny about this is, not to say I'm like the completist. I know this is a great record, quote unquote, but I also know it's like their most country, right?
Oh, yeah.
And that is not necessarily where I lean when it comes to the Byrds. Like I'm more of a fan of like the more psychedelic pop type stuff. But also I think my thought is that this will be a good maybe bridge into others types of ways of sort of that more classic kind of country stuff. So yeah, excited to have this just because that was the only one I was missing in that in their studio album. So
plus it's like the great version, their version of "You Ain't Going Nowhere," the big single. Oh. And then Graham Parsons is all over that record as well. His one Byrds record that he was on.
All over it. Just look at this little...
Did I spit on it?
Yeah, we'll call it spit.
Well, yeah, we'll call it spit. Anyway, we digress. That's my favorite Byrds album. So that's a good.
Okay.
And so the last.
No, it is.
Yeah, it's my favorite. It's my favorite Byrds album for sure. Oh. And the last last one that you have, they're both from the record store, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. Yeah. You're correct. Yes. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah. Alex had better luck before I got here at the record store. But anyway, I filled in a Van Morrison hole that I was missing. I'm missing very few Van Morrison records. This is a period of transition, and actually the guy, I got it for $8, which my local record store, they've had this sitting in their store for a long time for $20, and every time I go, I'm like, I don't want it for $20. It's only 7 songs on the record, and nothing really like, none of like the big hits. It's from 1977. There's Van looking very Travolta like, as you can see, very soft senior picture.
It's like a young Costner vibe there a little bit.
Young Costner, big buttons, trench coat, a la Columbo, because this is Alex and I at our age make Columbo references.
Hardly knew her.
Yeah, well, yeah. But no, I'm happy to get this, and it's funny because I handed it to the guy, the shopkeeper, whoever was running it, and he's like, I'm surprised. He said, kind of under his breath, I'm surprised $8 is the ticket on that, because I think he was like, that was probably mispriced. But I found it. I'm glad I got it for $8. I'm only missing 4 or 5 more Van Morrison records, and he's got a bunch. So I think I have one more. You have one more?
Yeah, I'll go.
Go ahead.
Cool. So we've talked some like little spiritual, odd, free jazzy type stuff. We've talked some classic sort of country rock. So obviously the place to go from there is just typical 80s US heavy metal. That's an original debut from Armored Saint. I know very little about the extent of this record, besides it's the debut and arguably probably what people will lean to as their best. For any of Sam's followers out there that are like big metal fans, you'll probably know that John Bush had a huge long stint with Anthrax after this, and then sort of came back and was doing the Armored Saint thing, and still is. I will say, it's funny, they're playing a show where I'm at in a small club up in Columbus, and I was looking at it, I was like, you know what, that might be a good show for me to jump on, but I know next to nothing of their music other than sort of that standard 80s heavy metal type stuff, not quite leaning towards speed or thrash, but more of the sort of traditional American heavy metal. So yeah, and it was a great price too. I'll say that for like the ones I've picked up at Vintage Vault, amazing. Like I at least in terms of the pricing of that I saw. So this was like $14,
Yeah.
which is pretty dang good. So
And what year is that?
this is what 83, 84, and just absolutely look at this.
It's clean.
Look at this cover too. This is the dumbest. Doesn't that just scream Sam St. John?
It does.
I can't
Monty
imagine
Python.
Monty.
Yeah.
I can't believe you're not into this type of music.
I know.
With a cover like that, Sam. Come on.
I know. Nothing says banjos like Armored Saint.
Yeah, I mean, you know, the harmonies are going to be great from, you know, that's got
The Knights of Men.
Sir Lancelot.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Right.
This is free entertainment, folks. Subscribe to both channels, please. You get more of this.
Please.
Very cool. I'm glad the vault treated you okay, because the Vintage Vault is the store here in town, and they do lean very heavy in punk and metal. They have a great jazz section. I mean, I'm sure you flipped through.
Great jazz.
It's a little pricey. I've never bought a jazz record there, but I do like the vault a lot, and they actually had a booth here at the show. Lastly, for me, the reason I got this is because I think Analog Productions had a big sale, like a spring cleaning sale of the follow-up to this album, which Fogerty did like 30 years later. So this is a John Fogerty album. I believe this is his first post-CCR, called the Blu Ro Rangers, and he intentionally did not put his name on it. I mean, but you can look on the back and it says arranged by John Fogerty, so you didn't have to do a lot of digging. But they're all traditional country and kind of Americana songs. Like they do versions of Blue Ridge Mountain Blues, which I know. She Thinks I Still Care, which is a big one that George Jones did. Please Help Me, I'm Falling. Today I Started Loving You Again by Merle Haggard. So I was happy to get this. $5. It's pretty daggone clean. The cover's clean. I mean, considering this is a 50-year-old record this year. We don't talk about that enough. Like, these are 50-year-old products. Like, this is not a reissue. This is it. And the fact that it's so clean on the cover, and then the record itself, looking at it, it's mind-boggling. So I'm happy to have this to kind of put next to his fall, even though he put out several albums between this and the other one, but he did like an album called the Blu Ro Rangers Ride Again, which he played pretty much every instrument on that one, which I recommend anybody check that out. But this was my not the final piece that I bought, but it's the final one for the video that I picked up. So
your overall thoughts on the show in general?
So this is, if anybody's familiar with Greg Neal, this is a Greg Neal show. He does a lot here in the Southeast. I think he goes as far south as South Carolina. He definitely has a bunch of shows in North Carolina, a few in Virginia, maybe creeps into West Virginia a little bit, but most of the time I've been here about when it opened, between 10 and 11. So this was advertised as being open from 10 to 4. Alex got here probably about a quarter to 2, and I followed suit a few minutes later. I think obviously like the big pieces, that if we were even looking for big pieces, were already kind of picked through for the early birds that were lining up at the door. It was okay. I mean, again, I didn't need any of these pieces, and a guy asked me, like, you know, how are you doing? Is there anything I can help with? And I kind of told him, I said, I'm just filling holes that I didn't think needed to be, you know, filled, because again, I don't, you know, there's nothing here that I was like dying for. There's always, like, again, we were talking in the show too, like there's always like one or two pieces like on our want list in the back of our minds that you always look for, no matter, even if it's like an antique store, you know, downtown. But I mean, we both, you know, it was okay. It didn't blow our minds, at least for me. What are you thinking?
You know, I always wonder too, like, it's always like a great time, right? Especially when you meet up with friends and you go through and you flip through stuff and you pull out the, you know, all that kind of stuff, talk to the vendors.
Yeah.
And there's also part of me too that is like wondering, like, are record shows like a thing of the past that were, I mean, that was the way that you got these big grails, these big ticket items, but we're talking too of, there's no such thing as a rare record anymore. There's just expensive records.
Yep.
And so knowing that, you know, you can get anything via Discogs or eBay or whatever overnight and look exactly what the price is, and then you go to a place like here, it's like, you know, they might be priced a little bit higher, and like all those different things, and so it's almost taken like the fun out of the hunt, and you still do want to hunt for it, but then you don't want to pay the prices because you know exactly what it costs, because you've been doing research on all that kind of stuff too. So they're a ton of fun, but I've just found that like private dealers are just you know, they know what they have and they're trying to get a lot out of stuff. So
you always end up with the guys. I mean, there was a guy here, and nobody that I've dealt with was a jerk in any capacity, but they're all good guys. And there are a few ladies as well, but a couple of guys like had like, you know, like the Discog slip inside of the, you know, inside of the outer sleeve, where they're like, you know, here, this is what it's showing for, this is what I'm selling it for, and it's always that always kind of turns me off a little bit. You know, and they obviously put like the big hitters at the front, right when you walked in the door. It's like your big box sets. They were selling. I saw a bunch of Third Man records. They were selling a lot of vault packages that people had sold, which is a little shady. I think that's something that you're not technically supposed to do. That's kind of like a hidden code with the Jack White people. But a lot of that stuff, you know, like all the stuff that you were like wanting to see like on like the walls, like when you walk into your local record store, it was at the front of this record show. And again, like Alex was saying, you're probably doing better looking either at Discogs or, you know, Amazon buying just a reissue for, you know, a few bucks more, but you know you're probably going to get a better quality if OGs aren't your wheelhouse. But yeah, I mean, still, again, a good time. Got to hang out with Alex, talking shop with people in the store, whether it's customers or vendors, is always it's always fun.
Yeah.
So, any final thoughts on the trip?
No, man. I mean, we as I said before, Sam and I recorded a video last night, and it's on my
I'll put it below. Yep.
You'll put it below.
Yep.
He'll put it below.
I'll put it below.
It's beer and vinyl.
You
know.
Yeah.
Just talking about sort of the importance and fun of doing this type of stuff, and you know, this is like the sort of the manifestation of why we do these things.
Exactly.
You know, it's like we get into this community and we do stuff like this, and we laugh and we joke and make fun of people and do all the things. You know, not like other people in the VC, but you know, just in general.
Yeah.
And quote Seinfeld and all that kind of stuff. And so
a lot of that.
you know, this has been an awesome trip. I mean, it's been like 36 hours, but
yeah, it's been cool.
It's been super awesome, and hope to do it again for sure.
Definitely, and because of Alex's work, hopefully, you know, this can work out again. I've always wanted to travel up to Ohio. There's a couple of guys out there I want to hang out with too. So, you know, this will happen again. Hopefully, somebody soon down the line. But anyway, appreciate y'all watching. Subscribe to Alex Beer and Vinyl. He's just hit the 100 mark in the last couple of days and going up since then. So please check him out. Again, his channel is down below. Tell him I sent you. And check out our other video. I've shared it in my community post as well, so it's there, and it'll give Alex the views that he so deserves. But thank y'all for watching, and yeah, we'll see you real soon on another one. So take care, everybody.
Cool. Bye, y'all.